The weekend brought her first real test. It was an Owambi, a traditional Yoruba party known for its grandeur and extravagance, and the hostess had somehow heard about Ada. When Ada arrived at her shop that Saturday morning, she found a crowd of over 30 women waiting outside, all of them scheduled to have their makeup done for the same event. That day became a blur of activity. Ada worked from dawn until mid-afternoon, her hands moving with practiced efficiency, applying the cursed products to face after face. Each woman who looked in the mirror had the same reaction of shock and delight. They looked impossibly beautiful, their features enhanced in ways that seemed to defy the normal limits of makeup artistry. Some women cried with joy, others took endless selfies, all of them promised to return and to tell everyone they knew about Kyoma's glam studio. By the end of that day, Ada had made over 1 million naira in fees and tips, more money than she had earned in all her previous months in business combined. The women left her shop looking like queens, ready to turn heads at the Owambi. As Ada counted her earnings that evening, she felt a surge of triumph. She had done it. She had beaten Ngozi, beaten the odds, beaten her circumstances. She pushed away the small voice in her head that whispered about the price she was paying each morning. The success continued and accelerated. Ada's Instagram page exploded with followers. Celebrities began booking her services. Brides traveled from other states to have her do their wedding makeup. Fashion magazines featured her work. She renovated her shop, expanding it to include 3 makeup stations instead of 1, hiring assistants to help manage the flood of bookings. She paid off all her debts within 2 months and moved from her small room in Ogba to a nice apartment in Lekki. She bought expensive clothes, ate at fancy restaurants, and finally felt like she had arrived. But across the street, Ngozi watched Ada's sudden rise with suspicion. How had this struggling newcomer suddenly become the most popular makeup artist in Lagos? Ngozi had been in the business long enough to know that success did not usually come so quickly or so completely. She began to observe Ada more carefully, noticing strange things. She saw Ada arriving at her shop early each morning with a small cooler, saw her locking herself in the back room for an extended period before starting work. She noticed that Ada never let anyone touch her makeup products, keeping them locked away when not in use, always applying everything herself even though she had assistants for other tasks. Then one day, Ada and her boyfriend had a fight which resulted in a breakup. Ada had been dating Felix for 2 years, so she was devastated by the breakup. That night, she drowned herself in alcohol while blasting heartbreak songs loudly. She was wasted and slept that night. The next morning, she was still very tipsy, so she ran to the toilet due to a runny stomach, forgetting that she always had to use her first feces of the day to perform the ritual. It wasn't until after she flushed the toilet that she realized the mistake she just made. Her first instinct was to rush into the soakaway to get her shit back, but she couldn't. She went about her day in fear of what would happen, but she tried really hard not to show yut. She wasn't just battling a fresh breakup with the man she genuinely loved, she also battled the fear of the unknown because Baba Augun didn't tell her exactly what would happen if she missed a day, but he warned her it was dangerous. So, she decided to watch things play out. When nothing happened, she assumed all was good. Meanwhile, something sinister was beginning to happen to the women who had been Ada's clients. It started subtly, about 6 weeks after that first successful Saturday. Amaka, Ada's first client under the new ritual, noticed a small rash on her cheek. She dismissed it as a reaction to something she had eaten, but the rash did not go away. Instead, it slowly spread, small red patches appearing across her face. She tried different creams and medications, but nothing helped. Then, about 3 months after her makeup session with Ada, Amaka noticed something that made her scream in horror. Tiny movements under her skin, barely visible but definitely there. When she examined her face more closely in strong light, she saw them, minuscule white larvae, moving beneath the surface of her skin. Amaka was not alone in her suffering. All across Lagos, women who had been Ada's clients began experiencing similar symptoms. It started with rashes and itching, progressed to skin discoloration, and eventually manifested as visible decay. Their skin began to develop dark patches that spread like oil stains. The texture changed, becoming rough and uneven. And then came the maggots, tiny white larvae that emerged from pores, that moved visibly beneath the skin's surface, that left small holes as they burrowed. The women suffered in silence at first, each one believing she was the only one afflicted, too ashamed to speak publicly about something so grotesque. They visited dermatologists who were baffled by their condition. Medical tests came back with confusing results. Doctors prescribed antibiotics, antifungals, antiparasitics, but nothing worked. The decay continued, slowly but relentlessly transforming their faces from beautiful to horrifying. It was Amaka who finally broke the silence. Desperate and watching her face deteriorate day by day, she made a bold decision to post about her condition on Instagram. She uploaded close-up photos of her face, showing the decay, the discoloration, the evidence of larvae moving beneath her skin. Her caption was simple but powerful. She explained that she had no idea what was causing her condition, that doctors could not help her, and that she was reaching out to see if anyone else had experienced something similar. She mentioned that the problems had started not long after she had gotten her makeup done at a studio in Ikeja, though she did not initially name Ada's shop specifically. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, dozens of women commented on her post, sharing that they were experiencing identical symptoms. The comment section became a confessional, a place where women who had suffered in isolated shame suddenly realized they were part of a larger pattern. They began comparing notes, looking for common factors, and the connection quickly became clear. Every single woman who reported these symptoms had gotten their makeup done at Kayoma's glam studio. Some had been there once, others multiple times, but all of them had sat in Ada's chair and had her products applied to their faces. The social media storm that followed was devastating. Within 24 hours, Ada's shop went from being the most sought-after makeup studio in Lagos to being the subject of a scandal that dominated conversations across the city. Women began sharing their stories on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Hashtags like #Kayoma's Glam Studio Exposed and #Toxic Makeup began trending. Local news outlets picked up the story, running segments about the mysterious skin condition affecting dozens of women. The photos were horrifying, before and after comparisons that showed vibrant, beautiful women transformed into victims of what looked like some flesh-eating disease. Ada watched her world collapse in real time. The bookings stopped instantly. Her phone, which had been constantly ringing with appointment requests, fell silent. Her Instagram page, which had been filled with compliments and praise, became a battlefield of angry comments and accusations. Women who had once called her a genius now called her a monster. Those who had tagged her in grateful posts deleted them or replaced them with warnings to stay away from her shop. In a panic, Ada tried to deny everything. She posted statements claiming that she had no idea what was causing these women's problems, suggesting that they might have used contaminated products at home, or that they might have pre-existing skin conditions. She claimed that her products were imported from Europe, that everything was safe and tested. But her denials only made things worse, making her appear callous and dishonest in the face of overwhelming evidence. The authorities soon became involved.